Since the crisis started in March, we have not hit pause, we have not stopped. We've been 100% focused on supporting businesses and supporting our communities here in North Central Massachusetts, helping them get through this unprecedented health pandemic. We have provided resources such as a loan program. We started an emergency loan program at the very beginning of the crisis, and we've lent out over $800,000 in a 6-week period. The smallest loan was $2,700. The largest loan was $54,000. And these resources helped businesses that were impacted get through the crisis, providing them some working capital. We also provided a lot of guidance, a lot of technical assistance, a lot of guidance in applying for the Paycheck Protection Program loans and the EIDL loans. There was a lot of confusion when those programs came out of the stimulus bill, and we received a just overwhelming number of calls and requests for assistance, and so we really helped guide businesses through that kind of process. And then just a lot of education. We've been coming out with regular updates on the reopening plans and guidance from the state and various orders from the state that impact businesses. And we've been holding webinars, educational programming for our members. We've probably done about 30 webinars since the crisis started on various topics, everything from applying for PPP to dealing with some of the health restrictions that are out there. Just trying to help businesses in whatever way we can, as well as our communities get through this crisis. We established a health pandemic hotline for businesses so they could reach us with any issues that they were having. And we had a pretty good response to that. We did some marketing campaigns, which we were recognized nationally for, with some other chambers and business groups replicating what we did early on to help support some of our restaurants and other businesses that were particularly impacted by the closure. And some advocacy and just working with our elected officials. We've been in constant communication with our local officials, with our state officials and federal officials. We regularly participate in calls with the Secretary of Economic Development and the Secretary of Labor and the Lieutenant Governor, just to provide input, as well as find out, what the state, what's coming down from the state in terms of reopening. So just a lot of a lot of different ways that we've been providing leadership and guidance and support to members in the business community, as well as North Central Massachusetts in general. Well, early on in the crisis, we launched an emergency loan program to assist small businesses that were really impacted by the disruption to their operations caused by the health pandemic. So we've loaned out in about 6 weeks. We loaned out about $800,000 in loans, the smallest which was $2,700. The largest was $54,000. The average loan was probably about $20,000 to a lot of vulnerable businesses, a lot of small businesses, including our members that were impacted and needed just some working capital just to help them get through the crisis, or until they could get access to some of the stimulus grants and stimulus loan programs through the SBA. So that was very successful. And then we also provided a lot of guidance and technical assistance with businesses, just helping them apply for the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, loan program through the SBA and the EIDL program and the other stimulus dollars out there. We also were very involved in kind of helping members navigate government and navigate this crisis and some of the resources out there. Everything from helping just getting information out there, being a source of reliable information on these different programs, as well as hosting webinars. We posted over 30 webinars during that 6-week period on various resources and just helping various best practices to help businesses get through this. Published articles. We even were involved in some direct advocacy, helping members with some of their issues and contacting the state to get answers for them or to get an issue resolved. So, since the crisis has started, we've just been actively focused on just helping businesses in whatever way we can. We just recognize that this is unprecedented. It's having a deep impact to every business. Every business has been impacted in one way or another by this crisis, and our communities have been incredibly impacted as well. So we have been focused now. We're switching our focus. We were focused mainly on crisis response and helping our members kind of get through the COVID-19 crisis. But over the last month, we've really been focusing our efforts now on recovery. We want to help businesses in North Central Massachusetts get back up and running, back to work, and long term, our mission has always been to advance North Central Massachusetts. So we're focused 100% on that. We have hired a firm called RKG Associates. They're a national economic development consulting firm to help us put together an economic development and recovery blueprint for the region. So we're actively working on that now with this consultant. We're running surveys, doing a lot of data analysis and research, and holding some small stakeholder sessions online via Zoom meetings with different industry businesses in the region to get their input, as well as other stakeholders. And the ultimate goal is to have this plan that will help guide us and help support recovery, but also long-term economic advancement for the region, so an economic development plan. And so we're excited about that, working on that. We also, with our work around providing loans and technical assistance to small businesses, we went through a lot of our capital. So we're actively looking to secure additional capital so that we can recapitalize our loan program and continue to provide loans to businesses that need capital to help over the next year or so with the economic downturn, as well as to grow. We recognize that capital is probably going to tighten up, especially for a lot of startup businesses and in particular industries that have been hard hit, as well as businesses, fairly new businesses that might have a challenge getting a loan through a traditional source. So we're actively trying to secure some additional capital so that we can still help with the development of new businesses, as well as help existing businesses grow in the region. So the Chamber is a very dynamic organization. Underneath the umbrella of the Chamber, we also have an economic development arm and a destination marketing arm and a educational foundation that does a lot of work with our schools. And we recognize that these have been challenging times for businesses. And we are there to help with trusted resources, with a strong business network. We want to help businesses get through this and help them get back to business. And we're 100% focused on advancing North Central Massachusetts and helping this economy grow. And we do think that this region is really well positioned to do well in the future. We're cautiously optimistic. We have a very diverse economy, a lot of manufacturers, and we have some tourism-related businesses, hospitality and business services, and healthcare is a very large employer here as well. And unlike other regions, I think that diversity and some of those particular industries are really a strength for us, as well as kind of the rural character of the region, that our central location in Massachusetts. So these are all pluses for our region, as well as our affordability, and our strong workforce and our strong educational system. So there's a lot of positives here. We're really bullish on North Central Massachusetts, and I'm cautiously optimistic that we can get through this working together. That's the entire concept behind a chamber, is that it's businesses coming together, and that they're stronger when they work together. They can accomplish anything. So, and I've seen that happen in my 20 years in the chamber industry. And so I'm very confident that the business community here in North Central Massachusetts can get through this working together.
Yeah, I have to say that first, we're really lucky at the Chamber here because we had already put in place a webinar program prior to COVID-19 hitting. So, you know, we're able to keep up to date by watching what's coming out of Boston federally, what's coming out locally, what's coming out, what are the needs that are moving through the community. And so we're able to react really quickly on that. But we're also really lucky because we have members that want to help. So we've had members that have reached out to us with ideas and they've put on webinars because if it's meaningful to them, it's meaningful to others. And, you know, we're also listening to our members of what they need and making that reaction as well. So it's been great being able to move the majority of our programming to a webinar platform, but mostly it's been wonderful to be able to have this great library of webinars that are specific to COVID-19 for our business communities. So we're really lucky that we've been able to do that real quickly. Yeah, it's really easy to find our library of webinars. If you go right to our website, which is northcentralmass.com, and you go to the news and events, at the very bottom, it's called the webinars, and it's our online programming, and it's all of our types of programs there. You can see the library, or you can go to our calendar events to sign up for something that's coming up. And it's really easy to register. We try and make it super easy as possible. So you register right online, member or non-member, you can register for our events. And a day or so before the event occurs, especially the webinars, we send out a link where you just join and you take a couple minutes prior to the meeting and you can join. Some of them, we have a host of platforms that we're using because not all programming is the same. So some of our programs are webinars, which are usually heavy on content and visual slides. And we have Zoom meetings, which are much more like our roundtables and collaborative talks. And you're able to join in on those and ask questions of our speakers regardless of the platform that we're using. And you have the ability to register, like I said, as a member or non-member, and you can go to any of our videos and any of our webinars and check them out. And that then once you have viewed it, you can also watch our recordings for up to a year. They're all in our library. So we try and make it simple, and I'm trying to make that process even more simple since we're doing all online now. Instead of coming to my registration table in person to see me, you're just getting an email. So I'm trying to up the game on that as well. Recently, some of the most important ones that we've had, of course, is the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's Path Forward program. We've also had live chats with the mayor from Leominster and the mayor from Fitchburg. We had marketing and investing in an express webinar, which is just 30 minutes long, and you can get great tips on how to use your money in the market and investing in COVID. We've had what you should be doing right now for marketing and disasters. That was a great roundtable. Looking at larger scale topics, we had re-examining the phase 1 of reopening just Massachusetts and what that means for business. That was really great. We had some folks come in from a law firm to talk about that. So there's some really great information on it. And, you know, we just had one recently about how to keep remote employees engaged when they're working from home and how to recruit employees to work from home, as we don't know what the end date of this will be. So that was very timely for us to be able to produce as well. We're actually beginning to fill up the June calendar, and we have a webinar coming up on budgeting and emergency funds and how to do debt stacking. And that's coming up at the beginning of the month. And we have an exit succession and applicable to reorganization alignment. So we have that's coming later in the month as well. But of course, the big event in June for the North Central Massachusetts Chamber of Commerce is always our annual meeting. And while we can't be with you in person, we are having the annual meeting. It's an online event this year. And we're really excited to be partnering with some of our local businesses. Fidelity Bank is our premier sponsor, so we're really pleased that they were able to help support us in our efforts. And while we can't all be in the same space, we can certainly celebrate all the hard work that the Chamber and its members and the partners have done this year. And this is definitely a year and a time when I think everybody wants a little bit of a celebration. I know I do. Some feel-good story out there that says, you know, there's so much hard work going on in the North Central region, and we can't miss the opportunity to celebrate it. So just head over to northcentralmass.com and you can click on our news and events, and you can go right to the calendar and you can see what's coming up. And if you want to see what's already been done, just go to our online programs. I would like to say thank you to FATV for helping us make our annual meeting and online event happen. They're a media sponsor, and they were a really good partner to help us get some of the recording done of our prominent speakers. So just a big shout out to you guys. Thanks so much.
So the Emergency Loan Fund is a product that we developed shortly after we started to see the impact that the pandemic was having on the small business community. Typically, we have a microloan program that offers small business loans to individuals that are unable to get the funding from banks and credit unions. But this Emergency Loan Fund is kind of a spin-off of that. And during the pandemic, and we will continue to offer it later on, the Emergency Loan Fund is a loan up to $20,000 for existing businesses that can provide at least 2 years of tax returns. The interest loan was lowered to help the small businesses. We are turning the loans around in 2 weeks. We're doing a modified underwriting process. So instead of the time that it normally takes for us to go through the loan process, we're actually just requiring tax returns, the application, we'll pull a credit check, and we then have a conversation with the borrower. But the Emergency Loan Fund has been extremely successful, and we're happy we're able to provide it. In the weeks since mid-March, when this started, we've made 18 microloans for a total of $437,000. So huge impact. And I know that we've helped a significant amount of businesses and retained a significant amount of jobs. We jumped in on the second round of the PPP loans, the Paycheck Protection Program loans, which started in early May. In total, we've made 16 PPP loans for $277,901, and that's retaining 47 jobs. So that's another huge impact. When the pandemic just started to make an impact and we started to see some changes, we kind of jumped into action plan. We contacted our loan clients. We started webinars, coordinating webinars and conference calls. We probably received at least 100 inquiries and discussed financing options with at least 100 individuals in the first couple of weeks of the pandemic. People were just overwhelmed. There was so much information being put out. They needed explanation on the EIDL loan from the SBA, the PPP loan, the advance. How does it all work? What did we have to offer? People were just scared. They were just calling to talk to somebody that had some compassion, or maybe just wanted that somebody would just listen, maybe someone that could give them some guidance. As we've evolved through this process, I think an explanation and information has been received, and we've continued to share that information with the businesses as we've received it. Things have calmed down a little bit. There's a lot of our loan clients that we've connected with that have, I feel like a lot of them are weathering the storm, and I'm really excited by that. We've talked to a majority of them up to this point. We've kind of just reached out to them, find out how they're doing, what are the challenges that they're facing, and how can we help them. And I feel like a majority of them are weathering the storm. We have a few that won't make it. We have a few that are really struggling, and we're going to be there to help them along the way. But I think with our guidance and some of the resources available out there, I think they've really they're weathering the storm. They're kind of getting to the other side, and we're seeing some hope. I think we're seeing some hope, and I do see a difference between where we started and where we are now, and pleasantly surprised. Well, for the grants, I think that, so now we're kind of shifting into recovery mode, and I believe that there probably will be grants, more grants available. I think the ones that were available, they've been depleted, but I'm hearing talk about more grants coming up. However, we will still provide our microloan program. We will still have our regular loan program, and if there's any other resources out there, everybody, we want to be that resource for people. We want to be able to connect them and help them with recovery and help them get to the other end of this pandemic. And we are definitely going to be involved. We're already working on reopening task force for the different communities. So the Development Corporation is here for the small business communities, and we want them to know that. And we want them to know that we have the financing options. And if there's any other resources available, we'll definitely be connecting them with those resources. I do believe it's going to take quite some time for the businesses to recover. We are starting to see a few loan requests for startups, which is very encouraging. I was kind of surprised by that. I didn't anticipate that to happen so quickly. As I said, we're participating in reopening task force, so we're trying to get as much information so that when people come to us, we'll be prepared to help them the best way possible. We'll still have our emergency loans, so if anybody's looking for those, we're going to be there to provide those. But I do foresee I foresee a lot of small businesses coming to us to refinance some of those predatory lender, those payday lender type loans, because I think a lot of individuals were kind of panicking. Business owners were panicking. They didn't know where to go. They didn't understand the whole SBA, EIDL loans and advanced loans. And instead of trying to maybe having some patience and doing a little bit more research, they kind of panicked, and then they probably went online and secured some of these loans. I feel like we're going to get a lot of refinancing of business loans, down from probably 50 or 60 or 70% to what our interest rates will be, which will be a lot more manageable. I anticipate a lot of providing technical assistance and working with these individuals to kind of just regroup and get back on track. And we have fortunate enough to have relationships with like New View Communities, SCORE, the SBDC, Center for Women in Enterprise. We have great relationships with these organizations. So we'll be definitely working together to provide that guidance and help them navigate through this recovery process. I guess I just want everybody to know that the Chamber of Commerce, the Development Corporation, we are here for our small business community. We've got a great group of community leaders, businesses that surround us, and we make a great team, and we're definitely going to survive this. We're going to come out on the other end. We're going to survive this, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Well, we are currently giving it a facelift. We're working to paint bathrooms and fronts of buildings and laying mulch down. We're trying to get it fresh and ready to go. We're working on all sanitation items within the building. There's hand sanitizers at both doors as you come in. There is going to be touchless faucets, touchless soap dispensers, paper towel dispensers that are touchless. So we're trying to get things into place so that there's not as much capability of touching surfaces. We have sneeze guards in place at our register and at our information center. There'll be hand sanitizer on the counter. We'll wash each counter after each customer, and the keypad for the ATM for the credit card holder. So we're trying to do all the proper steps that are out there that are recommended by the CDC. Our biggest thing is to make sure that the public is safe. We have new signage up. We have new floor spacings. There'll be an indoor, an outdoor. So we're trying to keep it as easy flow, easy going as possible. We get a lot of traffic through our visitor center, so we want to have our restrooms up to snuff. They're going to be cleaned hourly. So we're going to keep up with all the hand sanitizing and things going on within the visitor center so that nobody has to worry about coming in and using the facility and stopping in and saying hi.
Well, I think just for our viewers at home, just a little bit of backstory about Visit North Central Massachusetts. So Visit North Central Massachusetts is the established regional tourism council for North Central Massachusetts under the umbrella of the North Central Massachusetts Chamber of Commerce. And our sole goal is to promote North Central Massachusetts as a destination for people outside of the area to come and support all of our wonderful businesses here in North Central Massachusetts as destinations. And so we want to promote that economic growth, and by encouraging people with a little jingle in their pocket to come and support everything that North Central Massachusetts has to offer. So we were established back in 1997, originally established as the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association. And we also own the Johnny Appleseed Visitor Center off Route 2 in Lancaster, which initially was a burnt down Howard Johnson's restaurant. And Diane Burnett will tell you a little bit about that later. So it wasn't until 2010 that we were actually recognized as Regional Tourism Council by the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. Since then, we have been promoting North Central Massachusetts, going to international trade shows, dealing with all sorts of event planners and trade show experts, trying to bring more light to Johnny Appleseed country, better now known as Visit North Central Massachusetts. That being said, it is no secret that tourism has taken a massive hit in not only the state of Massachusetts, but across all boards throughout the entire country. Obviously, our hospitality industry has been absolutely obliterated. Our restaurant industries have absolutely been just crushed by this pandemic. And so tourism has taken a deep hit. And so it's our job to now figure out what can we do as the Regional Tourism Council to continue promoting these businesses. So we've established a couple marketing campaigns. We're very proud that early on, Visit North Central Massachusetts established a Takeout Blitz campaign within the hour of Governor Baker's initial announcement on dining in bans across the state for restaurants. Putting together a short list just to let people know and inform people of all these businesses that are still offering takeout locally. Support your local restaurants, I think is the takeaway from this. And you know, they're very vital to our economic growth and to our communities. And they need us. We needed them when we were hungry, and now they need us more than ever. So it's our jobs as citizens to continue supporting all these restaurants. So we're very proud of the Takeout Blitz campaign. We've also hosted a couple online program series. The latest was around the hospitality industry and how that's going to look. And so we are very proud to host Henry Tessman, who's also one of our fellow board members of Great Wolf Lodge in New England, as well as Eric Halverson of RKG Associates, who is the economic development firm that we have hired to put a plan together around recovery in North Central Massachusetts and how that will look. So we have a lot of different moving parts that we are doing, but focused on the tourism specifically. It's just helping market these businesses during their times of need. It's very difficult to have a concise, clear focus on what Visit North Central Massachusetts will do when this pandemic is over with. We don't know, unfortunately, when the pandemic will be over with. But what I can tell you is that Visit North Central Massachusetts is working closely with our other 15 regional tourism councils throughout the entire state, and along with working closely with the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. So there will be statewide campaigns that Visit North Central Massachusetts will be participating in to help promote essentially the reopening of Massachusetts, so that way we can encourage visitors to come back to Massachusetts and support all of our communities, especially the ones here in North Central Massachusetts. So we have that going on a grander scale. And then more focused are the plans that we have here internally within our organization as we work with the North Central Massachusetts Chamber of Commerce on recovery and relief efforts, mainly the major study that we are working with RKG Associates on to investigate and figure out what's recovery going to look like in North Central Massachusetts and kind of profile the region. Visit North Central Massachusetts has always had the mission of putting our business community first, putting our business leaders, these great men and women, on a pedestal. We owe it to the Rose family. We owe it to the Crowley family. We owe it to the Mr. LaFortune of Wachusett Brewery. These types of businesses are what helped put North Central Massachusetts on the map. And it's what was a driving force to make North Central Massachusetts essentially an established regional tourism council. We owe it to them. So the encouraging words that I have is, we are going to come back from this. And I use the term related to the Johnny Appleseed, the apple trees. When a tree loses its limb, it comes back stronger than it was when it originally stood. And I do see that for North Central Massachusetts. I have seen business owners come up with creative solutions, ways to get around the pandemic and still support their consumer base. And it's been very encouraging for me to see all of the originality come out of these business owners. And it really shows me, as it does everybody else, the innovation and the reason why these men and women are still in business today. It is because they have the tenacity, they have the guts, and they have the vision of making their business not only a destination, but a business that can survive anything that you throw at them, any sort of pandemic. And I think it's a true testament to our business community here in North Central Massachusetts.